Welcome back, Wheelers and Weeaboos, to the channel of the Double Chin Doge, where last time we made this. And I didn't get to say the very last thing I was about to say, but I wanted to get one thing done just before the episode ended, but I didn't have enough time. Basically, remember back a bit ago, we put down these peak controllers. Now, if we go onto the GMS thing and we go into its volume and right click it, there will be an option called Link to Controller. If we click that, it brings up this menu, which looks a bit confusing, but just don't worry about this MIDI controller section, don't even touch it. Go on Internal Controller, and here, you'll see the Fruity Peak controllers. Insert 1 is where we have the kick, and Insert 4 is where we have the snare. It doesn't matter which one you go on, as long as you don't go on LFO. Peak, because we don't have an LFO on the peak controllers. So just don't worry about the LFO. Just make sure that whatever you select has the word peak in it, and it's for the one you want. So I want this to work on the kick, and I'm going to go into mapping formula, inverted. So now you know how the peak controller was recording the volume of the kick. Well, now, the more volume on the kick, the lower volume on the GMS. So basically, whenever the kick happens, the synthesizer we just made will go silent until the kick fades away, and then it comes back. This is called sidechaining, but we don't want it to go all the way, otherwise this is going to be practically inaudible. So, we're just going to divide the amount it takes away by 1.5. So now, the lowest it can go is about like 30% of its volume, I think. About a third of the volume. So it can lose a lot of volume just from the kick, but not so much that it completely sucks away all volume. So now, if you play it, you'll actually see this moving. And it's moving to the beat of the kick. Now this is sidechaining a little too much for my taste, so if you just go into peak controller, you can reduce the volume here, like the amount of volume it takes in. So I'm just going to reduce it so that it's not all square at the top, because basically what it's doing is it's square at the top. If that's happening, then the volume has literally reached its max, it's gone above the max maximum, and it's staying at full. I don't want it to stay at full, because then the sidechain isn't realistic. So here, it's like touching full, but not staying at a constant full. So this is a lot more realistic, and it still has a good effect on it. I'm going to do the same for the snare, just to save some trouble, because the tops of these snares are quite square too. So just reduce it until the square top is gone, but make sure that it's still touching the top. Unless you don't want much sidechaining. So now we'll just go back, link to controller again, new link this time, and just go on to 4 again, inverted again, and this time I don't want the snare to sidechain as much as the kick, because a lot of the kick's power is in its sidechaining, because the kick itself is quite weak. All it's got is the bass and the sidechaining. So I'm going to make it lose quite a lot of volume, but not as much as the kick. So I'm going to make it lose just under half its volume whenever the snare happens. The effect is subtle, but well worth it. So, now it's time to develop from this. Straight away, if you don't have an idea for a melody, which is just like the notes on their own, not these chords, one thing you can do that's very easy that can make the track sound a lot more full is you can make an arpeggio, which is basically what's called a broken chord. It's a chord broken up into little notes, played over and over. So I'm going to demonstrate in FL keys. I've just got to copy paste these chords in. Usually they would sound like this. But if you go into any plugin, all of them will have this spanner. As you're on the spanner, you get all this, which looks like a headache, but you don't have to worry about any of this except for this one section here, the arpeggiator section. Right now it's not doing anything because it's on the X. If we put it on the up-down, it's playing the bottom, middle, top, and then middle low over and over and over again. If we go down, you press top to bottom, and this one is the same as this one, except for it plays the tops and bottom notes twice in a row, which is why it's called sticky. And then there's random, pretty self-explanatory. The time dictates how fast the arpeggio goes. And the range can make the arpeggio go up scales. Repeats notes. And the gate, it turns off volume in between, like notes, like this. It's very hard to hear on the piano. It works better on other synthesizers. In fact, right now, I'll show you what I'm on about. I'm going to replace this Apple keys with another GMS. The arpeggiator has been turned off, by the way, because I did that. So I'm just going to go into a default. Where's it gone? Oh, there. Arpeggiator up and down. If I turn on the gate, now you can hear the effect. And that's fitting because I needed to go on GMS anyway, because we want to put this arpeggio in GMS. Now, I'm just going to see how this preset. This is a very good like synth for arps that I made called Liquid Light. Very high pitched. So if you want to know how I made this, if you want to make this, just copy everything I've done, because I really can't be bothered to explain it unless you are watching this and you know what you're doing, which I doubt anyone who knows what they're doing had enough patience to wait through all that. But if you did, good job on you. So yeah, basically what's going on here, if you want a very, very, very simple explanation, is there's a synth, and every time it plays, the frequency of it is going up really high, and then back down really quickly. Because if it stayed there, it would be all detuned, it would be off pitch and all that, because messing with the frequency completely changes the note it's on. But since it just goes up as high, really high, and then comes back down really quickly, it makes it just like hit harder. What I call frequency clicking. There's probably a real name for it, but I don't know it, so I just call it frequency clicking. And yeah, I'm not gonna go quite with this synth. I think it's a bit too high, so I'm going to make something similar to it, but not the same. So actually, I've decided to do something. I've still got the same kind of sound, but I've had an idea. This is an effect that I did a bit ago. But basically, if you go onto this 2-to-1 FM modulation and turn it up, you get, when you got something like this, you get this sound. Which is nice and like speaking bass kind of sounding like. But to make it more interesting, we can turn it up just like the frequency, but I don't want to turn it up because it's already at full, so I'm going to go on this invert, and basically it's going to go down at first and then back up. Okay. And then you get this sound. Sorry about the lag. Basically, if you create synths with a unison creates lag, because of course you're playing loads of copies of the same synth, and release creates lag. So basically, whenever this plays a note, it holds that note even after it's done for ages, and that creates this kind of echoing, kind of like that. That's what the release is. But if you have a lot of release and unison, it causes so much lag. If I set this to 16 voices, just listen, watch how quickly. You see this here, where my mouse is? That's the CPU load. I don't know exactly what it's measured in, but basically the higher that number is, the more laggy the computer is, and the more likely FL Studio is to crash, basically. If it goes red, of course, that's bad. Look how quickly that shoots up. 100 is the maximum, and it just went up to 97 straight away.